impressive.
The Hood Academy was a way of focusing everyone's attention on rehearsals, really. Every actor tells you they can ride, they can fight, they can and all that. And we needed people to absolutely look as though they could do this on a daily basis, second nature riding a horse. In the same way that people drive cars now. When we got here, and people went into fight rehearsals and riding practice, and it quickly became very clear that it was absolutely vital.
My name is Hungarian, so I'm a coordinator. So I have to teach the actors for riding and for fighting with many different weapons, and also moving, any kind of fighting movement. When they arrived, I had to teach them just a very simple step, because it's going to be special, like that. Look at my, like that. So when we fighting and moving with the sword, we have to move like that. So that's why I had to teach them step forward, backwards, like that. That was the very beginning stuff. Then we started to learn the basic movements with the sword. From here, just do it like, or like that.
Like that. Okay.
See, that's like that. Like that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's good. That's good. So this is the movement what we teach 100 times, like that. It's a big movement, not the sport movement, because we have to make with the camera, to the camera. That's why it's much more attractive.
Well, we're learning sort of 5 basic moves to defend the head, the neck and the legs, and at the moment we're using one sword. That's a basic thing, and as you can see, Harry is graduated up to his axes, because he's quite smart, and I suppose, yeah, later today I think I'm getting to have a go with the shield, which should be quite nice, yeah.
Playing an outdoor as I am, it's going to be fighting an awful lot, and just to get a feel of it really, and I think I'm sensing the character coming through the fighting style really. It's probably going to be a bit nasty, I'll fight a bit dirty. So it's interesting that the character is slowly coming through the fighting style, which I didn't actually think would happen, that's quite interesting.
You start off with the swords with the set kind of guards and blocks, and you're using all of the sword and all of the sides are the same, and suddenly you've got a very unbalanced weapon, so you need 2 hands a lot more. Bela was talking to me, we were both quite keen to actually not just use it as a kind of club, but actually to be able to use all sides of the axe. So you're doing that, but also use both sides and actually keep it halfway between a sword and a staff, so it's a pretty unique balance apparently, which we're just trying to get the hang of, and then incorporating the other axe at all, whether it would just be for extra stuff or whether you can actually fight at the same time with them. Yeah, no, I love the idea that it's a weapon that he's comfortable with just because he's a carpenter. He hasn't actually really ever used it against a person before, but if he had to, he'd always be very comfortable with it in his hands, and he knows how he'd manipulate it to that end. My experience with axes has been limited before, which is probably a good thing.
There was a very good moment
when we first started, when there was a day when they presented everyone with their weapons, and they brought us all in, and Richard Armitage was there, and he was presenting this black, you know, fantastic sword, and Robin with his bow and his and it all went on and on and on and on. And the guy who was presenting was a Scottish guy who I kind of knew, and then he said, and Little John, and I said, can I stop you right there, because actually what you're going to say is, here's Little John and his big bit of wood. And I got special training because I had to work out how to use a long staff. And actually, what the stunt people were actually doing was actually making sure I'm not going to kill another Hungarian stuntman with the big bit of wood, because you can't make a false bit of wood. You can make false swords that might not hurt, but a bit of wood's a bit of wood, and it will hurt if it hits people, as it has done. Not me, thankfully, but lots of stuntmen are limping around at the moment because of that.
Yeah, no, down, bang, or down, bang. Oh, there. Yeah, yeah. So it's a short stop. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
This is a Robin Hood for PlayStation generation. This is a generation that understands more than conventional television grammar. So you can have three things happening at once. You can have information. You know, if you watch, you watch Chinese, Japanese cartoons, kind of the supercut images of people moving quickly give you a sense of people moving quickly, and you kind of go, okay, well, can you do that in horses?
Find out that man's name.
I mean, I think the horse riding is the most complicated in terms of all the different things you're doing. I mean, most of it is not about all the different moves. It's about being comfortable on a horse. So when you're acting on a horse, you can concentrate on what you're doing rather than worry about what the horse is doing.
Basically, you find your balance, so you work without reins, and then they try and get you to take your feet out of the stirrups, lay back on the horse, just so that you can kind of find your balance without the reins and the stirrups, because they kind of control the horse. So you've got to be able to balance on the horse, nothing, while the horse is moving. So I guess that's the start.
Ready? Yeah.